All right, so we're going to graph these functions and identify the key features about them. Actually, it's sometimes easiest to find the key features, so let's start with that. So let's talk about the amplitude. So remember, the amplitude is this number that's out in front, okay? That tells us how high and how low the function's going to go. So our amplitude is going to be 3. Now, the period, remember that's how long it takes us to get through a full cycle. The normal period of sine is 360 or 2 pi. We're going to do this one in degrees. We'll do the next one in radians. But our period is 360 divided by b. Now, b is the number in front of the x, which in this case happens to be a 1. So the period on this is 360 degrees. Now, we'll do the domain and range once we're done graphing the whole thing. So when we graph this, first we're going to start by thinking it's a sine function, okay? Sine function starts at the origin. There it is. The next thing we want to think about is the period of it. That's going to tell us how long it takes to get through a full cycle. So remember, sine functions are going to go up, and they're going to go up and back like this. Okay, I'm going to erase that because that was terrible. But we want to know how long does it take to get back to that point, and it takes 360 degrees. So let me do this a better job of this. So we want to take our axis out to 360 degrees. So let's see, let's go by like 90 degrees, 180, 270. We usually split it up into fourths. All right, so we know that if it starts here, it's got to end here in 360 degrees. And now we just need to fill in the rest of what's happening. The amplitude is 3, which means it's going to go up to 3 and down to 3. All right, so let's think about the sine function. It's going to go up and hit in the middle and then go down and then come back. So right in between 0 and 360, we've got a hit in the middle. So at 180, it's going to hit there. And then in between those 2 points is going to be our highest point. And then in between 180 and 360 is going to be our lowest point. Okay, so this is what the sine function will look like. And it's going to do the same thing if you want to go in the opposite direction to negative 360. Okay. Halfway in between, it's going to hit, and we have another cycle here. So we're going to go up, down, and back. That was a little shaky there, but you get the idea. And then it's just going to keep repeating over and over. Okay, so this is very similar to what we graphed first. The only difference is we have increased the amplitude. So it goes higher, it goes all the way up to 3 and down to negative 3. Now we're going to fill in the domain. The domain is all real numbers. Okay, this keeps going and going. And the range, instead of being from 1 to negative 1, we're from negative 3 to positive 3 is our range. All right, let's try out another one with cosine. All right, so starting with some key features. The amplitude is this number out in front. It's 4. Oh, but that 4 is negative. Now, the amplitude is never negative, so that means it's still going to go up 4 and down 4, but this negative is going to cause it to be reflected. All right, we'll come back to that. The period of cosine is 360 or 2 pi. I said we do this one's in radians. And we have to divide that by b. b is this number out in front of the x, which in this case is 1. So our period is still 360 or 2 pi. All right, now we need to think about where this thing starts. So cosine, remember cosine starts at the crest. Okay, it starts at the top, but we've reflected it. So this cosine is going to start at the bottom. And our amplitude we said was 4. So on this one, normally cosine would start up here at 4, but we've reflected this, so it's going to start at negative 4. Now the period that's how long it's going to take us to get to the next crest. So it's going to take us 2 pi to get to the next crest. Well, in this case, it's not a crest. Halfway between these 2 points, we're going to be at the other end. So that's at pi. We'll be up here. And then halfway between 0 and pi, so at pi over 2, we will hit halfway. And then halfway between 1 pi and 2 pi, that's 3 pi over 2, we'll hit here. Okay. So that's what the cosine function looks like, and you can go the same in the opposite direction. So if you go to negative 2 pi, that's going to hit the next bottom point. So at negative pi will be your next crest point, and the function will look like this. Okay. Domain is going to be all real numbers, and the range is from -4 to 4.